So, welcome everybody for another round of Review Club this week. And today we have a bit of a innovative session where instead of like going through one single big PR, we are going through multiple small PRs, and each one of them is an independent PR on their own, which is like very short and concise. And our task is to quickly grabs through the concept of the PR and find all the review questions and the comments that we can have on that PR and move ahead and see how many PRs we can cover for 1 hour. And Stratosphere is going to lead us our way. So Stratosphere, the stage is yours.
Yeah, so as Raj said, I just picked a few PRs which I thought were pretty straightforward and don't require any prior knowledge to review them. So let's just review them. And yeah, feel free to stop me if I'm doing something which you don't understand. This is like a really good resource. John attacks this article. It's like a really good resource which talks about how to review PRs.
Right.
Yeah, so this is the first one, the first PR which I chose. It's like a very simple refactor PR. It's written like there's a tag here, refactor. We're going to read the description. Like it's going to be a live review session. We're going to review it right now.
Makes sense. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a refactor PR, and they want us to share and use this helper function apparently. And this is the PR description, making the generating random key helper. It is apparently introduced in this PR, this commit. So let's just check the commit. The function's name was GenerateRandomKey helper. So I'm just checking it. Yeah, so apparently there was a commit which was added, and that had this function, GenerateRandomKey, in src.net.cpp file.
Right.
So they added it here. And this PR is saying that we are going to make this function available to other modules via key.cpp. And this will allow us to create random private keys directly at C-key instantiation, in contrast to the currently needed two-step process of creating an instance first and then having to call make new key.
Okay.
Mostly used in unit tests and functions in the wallet.
Right.
So, yeah, so just reading the description, it seems like they're just going to move this function from src.net.cpp, where it was before, to this key.cpp, because it's a function which deals with keys, right? Like they're making a, so it's just a move thing happening.
Right. So previously, like this function definition goes into like create a instantiation of C key and then key dot make new key with compressed equals to true and returns the key. Previously, we needed to do this manually, right? So now this whole 3 steps are encapsulated in a function, and then from the description it seems like they are going to expose this function into other modules and other places in the library.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we'll go through the code. Before that, I just want to pull this. I want it in my system. Right. So I want to compile this code in my system. So like right now, I have done git clone Bitcoin, like the link.
Yeah.
I think if all of you are familiar, but that's how you get the Bitcoin repository. Like you'll have to do git clone and get this link. So that's how you get the Bitcoin file. Like I did that, and this is how I am inside Bitcoin right now. These are all the Bitcoin.
And you were at the master branch of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm at master. I want to go into this branch. So I I actually use like a GH, like a GitHub utility thing to do it. Uh, so basically now I'm inside this, like I checked out the PR 28455, and so this was his branch. Like,
Right. So the branch is the stack 20309 refactor use generate random key helper. Yes.
yeah, so I got that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm inside that branch now. If
Right.
this and this match. So I have installed this GH thing, but you don't actually need to do it. Like you can instead, uh, like this is the John Attacks article which talks about how to
Right.
get locally. You can just, instead of doing GHPR checkout, you can just do this git fetch origin, pull the PR number and do this too.
Right. Right. Yeah. So
And
we can add another remote to that person's repository and then do it in that way. There is another way of doing it is like putting some config parameters inside your GitHub .git config file. And so here's the point number two, my git config section. So this thing, and if you add those lines to your git config, then you can just git checkout PR number, and then you can get that PR. But one problem that happens with that is like because the Bitcoin core repository is GitHub, Git is like quite big. So putting that inside your config file will basically fetch or everybody's PR that is out there, right? So that could be like quite some big data and will like increase your git pull time a lot. So
yeah,
the GH is a very nice way of doing it. There is another way of doing it is like checking out the remote. So git remote add say Luke Dash Junior and git fetch Luke Dash Junior will get you the branch that Luke Dash Junior is using the PR from. And you can just then do git check out that branch name and it will check that PR. So we also did a entire walkthrough of like from starting to clone to check out a PR to compile Bitcoin core on that PR head in our YouTube. So in our review club playlist, so there are like two basic documentations. It's also in our GitHub page, GitHub README section where you can check out like the basic stuffs of that. But anyway, let's move ahead.
yeah. So yeah, so this is like how we get that branch, and then like I have already like you can run stuff like like building dot
Right.
slash and dot slash configure and then finally
Yeah.
doing the build.
Right. So you have already run like autogen.sh and configure, and now you're running make make.j, right? So yeah.
Yeah, so I actually have like a kind of thing written here, like a script.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So I don't use wallet stuff, first stuff. I don't use GUI. So I have
Hmm.
disabled all that when make my build so that it runs a bit faster.
Hmm.
And this is like just for debugging purposes.
Right.
If you're like compiling the actual thing from source, you would just do dot slash configure. You don't need all these stuff.
Right. But this is useful to have. Like I also used to have like my own custom configuration. So maybe if you can just copy paste the config line in our Discord for other people to refer to, that will be helpful.
Yeah, yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's built pretty fast because it doesn't have to build the wallet or anything.
Right, right. Do you use like Ccache also?
No, that's a good point.
Right. So that's also is something that like builds the process very faster because it uses the previous build and only the file that got changed from the previous build gets compiled, and so that's also makes it very fast.
Hmm. I should try that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, so this is the thing.
Right.
Yeah, so let's just go through the file quickly. we'll start from like net.cpp. That's what his description said. He has basically deleted this function from net.cpp,
Right.
and he said it's into key.cpp.
Exactly. Makes sense.
It looks the same except like he's put bool compressed. Like before in net.cpp, it was always true, right?
Mm,
So now they have given an option compressed wherein you can pass true or false,
right.
and everything else remains the same. And you can also see that because you defined it in key.cpp, you need a header
Mm,
file in key.h, and in key.h, compressed default is always true.
right.
So if you don't specify anything inside the parameter, it's assumed to be true.
Right. So we can just call generate random key, and if we don't pass on anything as an argument, it will assume to be true.
Yeah.
What does
So,
no except means?
I don't know. I think it's a C++
It's a C++
thing which
thing, but
stays.
I always forget. I
Yeah.
always check the CPP reference, but yeah, it's a good thing to check. Operator performs a compile time check that returns true if an expression is declared to not throw any exception. Okay, so it means like this function does not fail or something?
Yeah. It can be used. Yeah, like there shouldn't be any exceptions thrown by the function.
Right. Hmm. I guess that's the meaning of it. It means like it's a compile time check that the function body should not contain code that is throwing some exception.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, so essentially this is all what the PR does.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but then, but then there's already a problem. Like net.cpp, they removed it in net. Like that function was used somewhere in net.cpp, right? Like it is
Right.
used in v2 transport. And now we have moved the function to key.cpp.
Right.
So that means we should hash include c.h
Mm-hmm.
somewhere,
Should. Yes.
but they didn't do it. So we get our first review comment.
No, no, they should. Like otherwise the test would fail.
I think it's implicitly like, I mean,
Uh,
like maybe
maybe search
.h is
for that function name and see where it's coming from in
yeah, that's
net.cpp.
yeah. This is the function, right? Generate random key. So this is the function which was there.
Now it's not
Uh,
there anymore. Yes.
Now moved it into key.h.
Right.
So we actually need a hash include key.h somewhere here. HIJK. Like we need that here. Because we are like taking that function from another file.
Right, but how is it compiling without this line then?
I think key.h is probably used in one of these files, like maybe, I don't know, netaddress.h, or
Mm.
like it's not a direct import, but like an indirect report. Oh, maybe
Okay,
this SHA-26. No.
okay.
Like it's not a direct import, but probably an indirect import in one of these.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
Yeah.
that also works in C++. So there could be indirect import for it. For like, are you really sure like key.h is not included if we search for key.h?
Yeah, 100%. I think. Yeah, it's not there. Like it's alphabetical.
Right. Okay.
You can comment it. So like we
I mean, won't that be a redundant comment in that case? Because like clearly it's compiling, so it's getting key.h from somewhere.
yeah, but I think somewhere in the developer notes or somewhere they have said that you have to do all imports. Like it's like if at all you're using from some other thing, you have to do the include. Like I
Okay.
remember, yeah, include files. Wait, I don't know. This is one of the guidelines. Yeah, excluding headers because you're already indirectly included it results in compilation failures.
When those indirect dependencies changes, furthermore, it obscure that the real code depend what the real code dependencies are. Makes sense.
Yeah. So we
I
need
mean,
key dot.
indirect dependency should not be a thing in the first place because it's very confusing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
leaving that as.
Okay, we can leave that as a comment. Yay, we got our first review comment.
Yeah. Uh, we need to do hash include key.h
Hey,
since
Saurabh,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, what is the number 81187D0 represents?
Oh, that's the commit hash.
It's the
Okay, the
yeah,
initial digit of the commit hash.
Yeah.
yeah,
So like when you see this, you can see the commit thing pop up.
yeah. So first eight digits of the or eight seven digits of the commit hash.
We need to hash include key.h since we are still using generate random key in.
Net.cpp makes sense.
Just click start a review. So it's a pending comment.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on.
Okay.
Yeah. So we check net.cpp key.h and key.cpp. Now let's start from the beginning. So here they used to do C key, and then separately they used to do make new key. But now
Right.
with GenerateRandomKey, you can directly do it in one step,
Right.
like the instantiation and the assignment of values.
Makes
So
sense.
they've
That
changed.
was the whole point of like doing the change.
Yeah, that's why the refactor PR is there. And
Right.
we don't need to specify true because we saw in hash include key.h, they like put the default value as true.
Makes sense.
So yeah, this part we checked. This is again same thing. This looks good. Yeah, this we saw. So like, yeah, I'm just scrolling and looking everywhere.
Right. These are the places
It's,
where it was like previously using the old ways of generating a random key. Now it's got replaced with this new function.
yeah,
And mostly we are calling compress equals to true. Here we are calling compress equals to false. Now the question could be why that's the case, but I think that's a contextual question for that particular test.
yeah. We'll just focus on the refactor part now.
Right. Yes, Mango, go ahead. Mango, you raised your arm. So if you have something, please go ahead. So these are all the places where we are just doing the new invocation. So mostly these are test file, wallet test cpp, and then there is like wallet.cpp. What's happening in wallet.cpp at the very last? Yes, same thing. So it
Same thing.
has a seed key and it's basically generating a random seed key. Make a seed
And then,
somewhere in the wallet. Okay.
so, so now, like now I'm thinking, like, why do we even need make new key? Like, can't we just make everything generate random key? So I want to like see if there are still places where we use make new key and whether we can make those two generate random key because it's a refactor pair. You need to
Right.
refactor.
Yeah,
So
I think I
searching for
lost
that.
connection. Can you hear me?
And yeah, so
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah. So what happens to the pending comment which was made right now?
So
Does this
until and unless you submit the comment, it's still pending, so it will not show up in the PR thread. So I guess we'll submit the comment. So we'll see how to submit it. So right now it's just pending and it will just only show up in Stratosphere's own account. And then there is
okay,
a
got it.
button to submit it and then it will go in the PR thread.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, so there are like few instances of make new key. And this is in source test multisig test.cpp for I, it's a loop for I0 to less than 4 for key I. So C key is a key array of 4, and so for
because
each key it's basically make new key equals to true.
and because it's an, you can't do the like instantiation and the assignment together because it's an array.
Because it's an
Like
array. Okay.
we need to say beforehand itself there are 4 C key or so that
Isn't
makes
there a
sense. Like we used to,
modern C++ way of like doing this instantiation and adding at the same time? Like, oh, I guess no. I guess no. Yeah, because you cannot return from a for statement, I guess, in C++. Yeah,
yeah.
right. Makes sense. Okay. Then there are other places where there are this array thing going
They're
on.
all
So, yeah. So this is the
this
make
is the
new
make new.
key.
Okay. This is our
And this is the
function.
random key. And this is the declaration. Then few bit more arrays. Coinbase key make new key equals to true. Where is Coinbase key coming from? So Coinbase key.
Something in find common ancestor.
Why is it in gray? The highlighting is.
I don't know.
I mean, probably like your linter haven't caught this file or scanned through this file yet. So that sometimes happens when it's a big file. Or no, yeah, sometimes that can happen when it's a big file.
Coinbase key dot make. It's like they kind of know what Coinbase key is. Why do they know that?
It seems like it's a thing, Coinbase key.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
coming in which file? So it's a C key, Coinbase key, and it's coming from the testing setup. Okay.
so it's kind of like it's already like like they make the object declaration here itself.
Right, right. So private public key used it has a doc. You needed to spend the Coinbase transaction. Okay, okay. So it's part of the testing framework.
Yeah, so we can't instantiate, I guess.
Right, okay. So we already know what the Coinbase key is and make new key is true. Okay, so we cannot use a generate random key here. Maybe like we could do a generate random key while doing a Coinbase key.
Like here itself.
Yes. No,
So
generate
then,
random key.
No,
oh,
but is it used anywhere else? What
yeah.
if Coinbase key is used somewhere?
So Coinbase key on its own is like non-usable because it does not have a private key
No,
unless we call make new key.
but there can be two types, right? Compressed or uncompressed. What if an uncompressed one is used somewhere?
From the look of the function, it seems like you can't, because once you call make new key with compressed equals to true, you cannot go back and make it uncompressed, I guess.
Oh,
Because make new key basically changes the class and instantiates a private key inside that key class. Or
okay.
maybe like
Why?
maybe like in other tests. So
Right.
like for each test there will be a new test framework. So in other tests you can have like, okay, make new key equals with false. That could be a possibility. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. So BCHK. Yeah, so yeah, like I think kind of like what Emil said, like Coinbase key is being used in other tests too. And so in the setup comment.cpp, they're apparently doing a set with stuff from
Vector of key,
BC.
which is like zero keys, and yeah.
And that's where they're.
Hmm. Makes sense. Okay. So it's a
But
32-byte character, 32-byte array, and so it is basically setting the key with that particular key instead of like setting random key.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why like we cannot always call generator random key over there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like a fixed. We can't change that.
Hmm.
No. Okay.
That makes sense. Okay. So this cannot change.
Wait, what were we looking? Make new
We were
key.
looking at make new key. So what are all the places make new keys are used? So we
Yeah.
got so far into we saw the arrays, we
Just
got into the test. Yeah, we are here. Then I guess that's another one. Make new key with fast random context. That's another function on itself. Okay. Then few more arrays are there, and arrays, and here's a key, auto test case. Huh. Seems
But
like,
this we can do.
yeah, seems like something we can do.
yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this seems like, okay, this is a key, there's a pub key, and then it's generating a pub key, and pub key equals to get pub key from that key. Okay. Yeah, this seems like it can be done. It should have generate random key.
Yeah. And they don't have key anywhere else being used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess it can be done here.
Mm-hmm. I guess
We
that's the
leave,
comment.
yeah, we leave that. Just here, right?
Yeah, these are few more like array stuffs going on. Uh, here
This one.
seems like another one. Yeah, this seems like another one with the same thing that we saw before.
Yeah,
No,
but
no, no. Both are there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you are doing one compressed and then another uncompressed. I guess like we can still do generate random key with once true and once false.
No, then it would be two objects, right? You
yeah,
would be wasting memory.
yeah.
We could override. We can't.
And
Okay.
we'd have to instantiate, like, we can only use this function if we are returning a C key. Like,
Right.
that thing has to return a C key. So
Right.
it'll, and it's going to return the whole object by value. So
Right.
A copy
But
will be
then
created.
we cannot like recreate it. Like say we say once key equals to generate random key with true, then we say key equals to generate random key with false. That will
You can't call,
override the key, right?
you can't call it like maybe like the first place you could use, like here you could use ckey is equal to that new function
Mm-hmm.
generate random key and false
Mm-hmm.
instead of this.
Mm-hmm.
But then here we cannot use it again. Like we'll still have to use key dot make new key, because if we do this again here, it's like creating a whole new object. We don't want to do that.
Okay. Okay.
I guess Raj, to do your method, we would have used pointers that point to CK,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
So,
if you
okay. Makes sense.
this part, it doesn't seem worth it. So yeah, let's check these two. I saw.
So this is another array thing going on.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. And what is the place where we like wanted to leave the comment here? This thing?
No, it's the last one. Here.
That was our uncompressed.
Here, basically.
No, this is the uncompressed.
Oh, okay. So this is the array. Go up.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is this part. Script standards. Yeah. Here, right? Like
Right.
they have everything. And apparently it's being done down also.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can leave that as a comment.
Right. Okay. But how do we put that as a comment for file that is not included in the PR? Maybe we can add a basic comment.
Yeah, we can just write like a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently this acted and he's saying, I see make new key being used in all these places.
Mm-hmm. So script standard test is the one that we saw.
Yeah. And he's saying, do we plan on making this modification? So we can reply to this.
So somebody
Like
said
say,
a thumbs up. Who said the thumbs up?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, somebody else. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So we can add that the standard, so some other places are not applicable, but script standard test.cpp, there are like those two places where it seems like it's applicable.
yeah. So we can like write a like comment, like I'm going to just make it a concept tag, and after he addresses it, I'll put an act. So we can just write something like, I think this is a useful refactor to have. Since this thing deals with keys, since generate random key, since it's better to have okay, since it's more modular to have, generate random key key.cpp rather than netcode.
So was it removed from net.h?
Yeah, it wasn't. Oh, good question. Okay, apparently they did not expose this function
okay,
out
okay,
to be
okay.
used anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're telling why we think this is useful to have. And then, yeah, then we can reply to that person.
So one thing, now I'm thinking of it, like, is there some insecurity in like exposing this? Because randomness, I don't know how they make the random key. It should only be used in tests. So if you export it, will it be used in wallets and stuff in the future?
Yeah, but I mean, like we didn't change anything other than like one place in wallet code.
So I
Like
guess like the behavior remains the same, whatever the randomness behavior was there before. So at the very end, there is a wallet file. So wallet.cpp.
No, yeah. So
yeah,
I said, no, there is a change, right? The change is that it's now exported.
yeah,
Generate random key wasn't exported earlier, no?
it was like I mean basically. I
Make
mean,
new
generate
key
random
was exported, right?
Ah,
So you could
okay,
call
okay,
make new
okay.
key.
Okay, got it.
yeah, like make new
So
key.
Rajat asked, can anybody concept ACK BTC core here, or they'd have to be a previous committer in BTC core? Anybody can, but should they? Is there any sort of rule for this? I don't think there is any sort of rule for this. You can like concept ACK, but like you should add like meaningful context and some meaningful review comments, not just one single concept ACK. And but there is
Yeah,
no such rule like you have to be a previous committer or something.
yeah, like leave, like tell, or at least like communicate with the people. Like if you want to be a meaningful contributor, like just explain to people what you tested, what you tried, and communicate well. Then people like really like you coming and doing concept ACK.
Mhm.
Don't just leave concept ACK.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a very reputed contributor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like if they make an act, like we know it's an actual act, but if you're someone new, it's better to communicate with people what you've tried and tested. So they'll be interested in helping you too. But yeah, anyone can go leave it.
Yeah, I think the drive chain PR was like that, and like nobody, it was very controversial, right? So the PR thread is quite funny, and like, there's all jokes and stuff on the drive
Yeah.
chain PR.
Okay. So this, yeah. Okay. This comes like this. So what was the reason we found out?
So we found out that there is
The
this,
array stuff.
yeah, the array stuffs are non-applicable, and there is this one place where it's applicable.
Yeah. It makes sense to include this refactor to do this refactor. Then we are instantiating a C-key object and also filling the value together in the same line. We can't do this in arrays, for example, where the instantiation, what is the spelling?
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Oops, so in the instant,
There's a
Oh
T
no.
there before. Next time.
You can right click, right?
Yeah,
To
right
right
click
click.
and fix.
Oh, okay.
It's fixed. It's
Okay.
fixed now.
Then it's fixed here.
So we can do this in arrays, for example, where the instantiation is done prior to filling values. We can do this refactor in those spots we found. Where were they? SRC test script standard tests.cpp. SRC test. Script standards.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. Comes like this. And here too.
Right. Looks good.
Makes sense with this refactor since we're instantiating a CK object, also filling the value. Okay. Comment.
Yes. Yay! This is our
Hey.
first live review comment to Bitcoin Core. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, this was fun. Um, so that covers this PR. Like few more questions in my head is like when somebody is reviewing a PR like this, what are the kind of questions they should ask themselves in order to check whether the PR author has considered everything that needs to be considered? So one of them is like so what we just saw like is all the places where a refactoring could be done is done. So that's
Yeah.
one. What could be another one?
Here we found key.h, right? Like the refactor was done, like you moved it, but you forgot about the stuff which was already there in the
Mm-hmm.
function.
Right.
I think it's very
Yes.
PR specific.
Yeah, it's
Like,
very PR specific.
and when you review, you should review with the mindset that everything is wrong. Like every line is wrong. There's a bug somewhere.
Yeah.
So I find that I can spot more bugs when I review with that mindset than when I think, okay, this PR, everything is going to be correct. Like I think the person is very good and they know everything
Mm-hmm.
and all the code is correct. If you do with that, automatically there's a mind block.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's very important to like go to each line, think why is this done, and when you really critically think, you will definitely find bugs or
Right.
stuff.
Right. So it's better to think like it's wrong rather than to think that it must be right.
Yeah. And if you don't understand, ask questions in the PR.
Right.
PR
Makes
others
sense.
like they
I
want.
have a
Yeah.
I have a question. So like, are concept acts important? So like for me, for example, I don't know C++ well enough to figure out stuff like forgot to include, hash include and stuff, right? But I might able to understand what is going on and maybe find the loopholes or mistakes. So are concept acts as important as, I guess, other acts?
Yeah, they're equally important. Even conceptually, we need feedback. There are people who put PRs out just to get concept acts.
Right.
Like before they fine tune the code, they want to know that whatever method they're doing is conceptually right. Because there are a lot of PRs which get in immediate concept acts. Like people say, don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't. Concept acts are very important.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So if nobody has any further question on this PR, we are already at 10 minutes from our 1 hour mark. So Strat, do you want to go ahead for the next one? Or like we have few more round of question answer and back and forth here?
I guess 10 minutes. I guess we can just do question answers. It might
Mm-hmm.
be a lot. Do the whole one again. We can do this next week
Right.
or the week
Yeah.
after.
Yeah. So Shreyan have some question in the chat is like if we have the time, a few general question, what is netcode and is it some specific file and what is Coinbase key?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, netcode is by netcode I meant net.cpp and net.h. That's the networking code. So all P2P networking, low level socket stuff, all those kind of things are done in netcode.
right,
Key.h deals specifically with keys, private keys, public keys. So that function with its utility, it's better suited for keeping it in a file where all key functions are kept rather than where networking code is kept.
right.
Right?
There is also netprocessing.cpp. Those are like
Yeah.
also the processing file where the messages get processed and part of kind of like consensus, right? So yeah, we
I
can
think
see this in the source directory, and there are like all the standalone C++ and .h files. These are like the important files for various things, and among them there are two net categories, net.h and netprocessing.h.
Yeah. And net processing is like, if you look at net processing, I think it's more like CP is more low level and net processing is more application. Like I think it deals with messages.
Right, yeah. And processing of the messages basically. And net
Yeah,
is basically on the low level sending and receiving of stuffs.
yeah, all the ports and it's more low level stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Net processing is that's the main thing it does.
yeah. So a big chunk of like the consensus code also relies on lives in the net processing files because like
Yeah.
it consensus defines like how messages are processed via nodes. Okay, and then the next question was what is Coinbase key? I guess like that was part of the test framework that we just saw. And yeah, Coinbase key is basically the keys that is used to sign for the Coinbase transaction. And that's kind of like a private public key pair that is used inside the test framework to create a block with a Coinbase transaction. Something that a miner would use, but here it's the test framework that is using it.
Yeah. It's just a very local variable used only for our C++ unit tests. They have some setup by which they mine 100 blocks in reg test.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
not main. And apparently it's a local variable which they use in those tests. It's not
Right.
used in any of code or consensus code, nothing. Just
Yeah.
in our test.
Makes sense. Okay. That was cool. Any more
I have a
last
question.
round of question? Yes, Samuel, go ahead.
How do you, what is like the best way to get the last commit ID? So we usually need the last commit ID, right? For comments
Yeah.
or for acts. How do you get it?
Yeah, that or like you can do it in GitHub also. Like if you go to GitHub and go to
No,
git
no. Yeah.
commits, and there is the
So I
commit.
know ways to get it. What I meant is like, which is the fastest way you do in your reviews?
Okay.
I usually do this.
Oh, okay.
I think
Okay,
Raj
okay.
has posted a smaller one, git log.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to do the same, what Raj said, the GitHub. And then the commits are listed and I used to scroll and find the last commit. Okay.
Yeah, and there is a button to copy it. So yeah,
Right,
it just
right. Yeah.
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 And also another trick on GitHub, can you press full stop? You know that trick?
What is
Nothing
that?
happens. Okay, then I guess okay, yeah, it's okay. You get full VS Code.
Oh, I used to do it in another way. So, oh, I didn't knew the full stop trick. But if you just go
What?
to the this is really
What?
fun.
What?
Yeah, so you don't have
Yeah,
to clone the entire Bitcoin if you're doing
yeah,
quantum tax. You can just
yeah.
do it here.
You can just do it in the web browser, and that opens up a VS Code editor for you.
Repeat this part. Can you repeat this one? As in, we don't have to do get pull the repo and it will open in VS Code.
Yeah, I didn't knew the full stop thing. There is another way of doing it. Strat, can you go to GitHub, like the back to the GitHub repo,
Yeah.
and then in the URL, after just GitHub, write GitHub 1s.
Okay.
1s.
Oh, like ONES.
No, no, no. One, like the number one, and
Okay.
s,
Number one.
Okay.
and enter. See if it works. Yeah, this also works. So you get a VS
Yeah.
Code representation of the whole repo.
But the other one is like from Microsoft itself, so I guess it would have more integrations and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one, in the other one, you try .vs. That's it. After the URL.
No, you
No,
just
you
press full
just
stop.
press dot. Huh, I need to try it right now. This is so cool.
Yeah. But it only works on github.com and not on the enterprise stuff, so I can't use it. But yeah,
Okay.
this is a good pick. Yeah. Works on
Okay.
github.com.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I sometimes use it to quickly check into repositories without cloning them. So you can just search through and also get like definition and linkage and stuffs like that. That's very useful.
So many stuff out there. Like I can't believe it. Like we use it every day, and then we saying to press a dot, and this pops up.
Right. Yeah, this was fun. Thanks, Emil, for the hack.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more further general conceptual question about review process? Do you guys find this useful? Then we'll keep doing this kind of like short review sessions every week, and maybe do few more bunch of try to squeeze in few more PRs in 1 hour and go faster. But as long as we are having fun, it's good.
I think what might benefit a lot of new joiners is like the steps. For example, simple thing: git pull Bitcoin Core repo, or compare, pull a specific PR, and this is the command to pull that specific PR, and this is how you compare the old repo with the like these git changes.
But
along
we
with,
already did that. Like we already have a dedicated video for that, right? You and me kind of like recorded it out.
yeah, not the whole session, but s- like the first few instructions in the event sheet itself, so that the new joinees can basically come
Okay,
prepared.
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, we can add that into the issue description itself and also link to the video where people can get into in-depth instruction of how to clone, to compile, to check the diffs of the PRs and stuffs. That's definitely the basic somebody needs to get through before like doing reviews. Yep, that's valuable feedback.
Yeah, I'll keep in mind for next time.
How much of Bitcoin Core code do you need to understand to be able to do this? Surprisingly plus unexpectedly, I understood many things today which I thought would go over my head. Do you guys know most of the things in BTC Core repo? That's a very good question. Yeah, and the answer, I guess, like it depends on what the PR you are looking for. So because we saw a very simple PR today, so it was like we could just read through the code and we understand what happens. But there are more involved PRs that requires contextual understanding through across multiple files of the code base. So the more contextual understanding you have, the easier it is for you to review code. And so you just keep going along, and over time, you gather the contextual understanding across the code base. And because it's a massive code base, like there are lots of code, lots of file, lots of module, it takes a bit of time. But for example, like doing this kind of review for testing PR, so all the PR that has test in their tag, these are the PRs that you can like easily review without understanding a major chunk of the code base, because you will be mostly looking at a very specific subsection of the code. So test-based code are good. These kind of like small refactoring code are like good review candidates when you don't have a lot of contextual understanding. But then again, like there are PRs which require a lot of understanding. Without that, it will like literally go above your head on what the heck is going on. And then there are like different context across the code base. For example, wallet itself is a big context, right? So if there is some involved changes happening in the script pubkey manager, without understanding the context of the script pubkey manager, it's gonna be hard for you to understand what is happening or whether the code is doing what it's supposed to do or not. So wallet itself is a context, RPC itself is a context, net itself is a context, consensus is a context, um, testing as a whole is a context. For example, fuzz testing and unit testing and stuff like that. So there are like different context around the code base, and then there are like different people who are like expert in different context, right? So I guess that's a bit of convoluted answer for that. But for doing this kind of like small reviews, you don't need to worry about understanding a lot of context, and you can just jump in and through. And then you will always find the roadblocks, right? You will always find something that you don't understand, and that's the place where you learn something new. And if you keep doing it for long enough time, you will end up understanding a huge chunk of the code base.
Yeah, and you don't need to understand everything. I like PRs because uh, you get specific chunks of code, and you only need to worry and learn about those. For example, uh, like you don't need to know all of wallet, all of networking code. Like you could just choose to uh, like be good at one of them. And for example, even if it's not being good, like you just want to understand this PR, like I'm automatically drawn to net code, so like I just click it. And I know I don't know anything, I would have to go and learn stuff up. Like if you look in this files changed, so like they have actually done some changes here in net processing. So I would spend more time learning the context that they're asking. So happened in which function, and I would I spend more time understanding the context for a function, like 80% time trying to understand like what that function actually does, and only then like only 10% of time you actually take to understand this change. 80%, 90% time goes to understanding what that existing function already does. And I like PRs because you don't, so to review this PR, you don't need to know everything. Like you can just go and learn, consider eviction, this function, and see its usages, where all it's being called, what it does, and then try understanding what this change actually does. And then read this test and see what happens.
Right.
So for me, it's learning as I go. I don't think I know most of
Yeah,
this.
like
There
there
are
is no
possible.
way of like doing it after knowing everything. There is no knowing everything when it comes to Bitcoin, and the only possible way of like working is like learning as you go. So you just take up task and you realize you don't know anything, and you start from zero and you start knowing something, and then you keep going from there. And that's gonna be the process in general as a Bitcoin developer in your career, right? Because it literally is impossible to know everything, even if like you are working for years over here. So it's a general guideline to be comfortable with not knowing and still going ahead and learning along the path, because if you keep waiting for until you know everything, then you will always keep waiting, and you will not end up like knowing anything, right? So it's a good thing to have the awareness that you don't know things, then you know what you don't know, and then you can go and learn them up.
Yeah, exactly. And you learn stuff by engaging in these kind of conversations. Like you leave a comment in this PR, for example, and then you'll see some experienced contributor giving a point which you never even thought of. And
Hmm.
then that's how you,
Yeah.
so you get new point, you get new context. And like you said, we gradually accumulate over time and we can do more meaningful contributions. But to just start with, you don't need anything.
Yeah. Okay, that was a engaging question. So, yep. Any further rounds? If not, we are good to drop off for today. Okay, was a fun session. I was pretty unsure how it would go, but it went like way more fun than I expected. So let's keep doing this kind of like small PRs. So and let's keep engaging into this conversation. And thank you everybody for joining us today, and thank you for all the questions. And week after next, we come back again with another round of PRs, and see you then. Till then, have a good day, good night, wherever you are, and we'll catch along in other places. Bye bye.